The things I think. Hello everyone. So today's lovely topic is my first date with a girl. Okay, so my first official date, we called it a date and we knew it was a date, we didn't say we're hanging out and it was secretly a date, was last summer. It was with this girl named Taylor who I met online. She seemed really sweet and nice and cute. How we began talking was because I was planning on going to Pride. And I said, hey, who's going to Pride? She said, I wish I was going. And I said, why don't you go with me? Everyone should go to Pride. I mean, Pride is for everyone. And she said, yeah. And then we kept talking. She just asked me out. At that time, I was back home at my parents' house, place I grew up. It was about 20 minutes from DC in Virginia. Back at college, I already began exploring my sexuality. And that summer, I really wanted to know. I wanted to date a girl. I wanted to be with a girl. See, being back home meant I was under my parents' roof. And that meant I had to have my parents' permission. And that also meant I was where I grew up around people who knew me when I was growing up. Seeing that I was where I went to high school, meaning that people I went to high school lived in the area, was terrifying because I knew if I went out with her, they could potentially see us together and then they would know, and that's just not something I wanted them to know. Now let's talk about the date. All my mom knew was I was planning on hanging out with someone who I supposedly met through a class when I did community college in the area. I waited by the window anxiously, happy, excited, anxious, and just, butterflies in my stomach. And when she got there, I got in her car and she drove to the mall, and it was just really nice. Kind of like going on a date with a guy. It was pretty normal. We got some food and went to the movies. The movie was about magicians. There was 5 people, and I don't know. I didn't pay attention to it the whole time. I was really nervous because she was right next to me. Halfway into it, there was no more watching. There was straight out making out in the movie theater. And I think I swallowed part of her lip ring, the inside little ball that holds it, because afterwards she was like, my lip ring is kind of not working anymore. You totally swallowed it. I was like, well, oops. How did I feel about that? Well, I was extremely nervous because I didn't know what to do, how to act, or how to feel. And the fact that I was in public drove me kind of crazy inside. But I felt like it was okay since we were in a dark movie theater. Maybe no one knew our genders, and therefore they wouldn't know we were lesbians. They just would see, some person who looks like a dude and some person who looks like a girl making out. We started out by holding hands. She held my hand, and just the way she held my hand was so different than any guy has ever held my hand. It wasn't just, hand holding like that. It was more like, this is my hand, this is hers. More like her, touching my hand lightly, and kind of like a sensual hand love-making thing. I don't know, it was just her skin was forming and dancing with mine almost. It just felt so natural and sexual and intimate and amazing. I had complete butterflies in my stomach. She kissed me. It was intense and moving and magical almost. It was nothing like kissing a guy. It was way more emotional. As soon as we got outside of the theater, I was really self-conscious again and nervous, constantly worrying if people were staring at us or looking at us and what they were thinking. I didn't know how to handle that. We held hands in public. I saw some people give us some looks. I didn't want to hide my feelings. I wanted to enjoy this date to the fullest. When you're out with a guy and people see a girl and a guy holding hands, old people are oh, cute, young love, blah, blah, blah. And then you see 2 girls and they're they just give you this look. It's not they're so cute. It's just what? Or I don't understand. Or that's disgusting. And being looked at my feelings were disgusting did weigh on me emotionally. I felt bad, but I also wanted to not notice them. I didn't want to be so affected by everyone around me. I wanted to just enjoy it on the inside. Hold her hand, look into her eyes without also noticing my peripherals. Everyone's staring. The entire time that I dated in Virginia, I was constantly checking to see if people were staring, constantly worrying what people were thinking, and not totally being there and living in the moment. Which I think a lot of gay people will have a problem with, because if they're really self-conscious about their sexuality and they're just newly out, you notice things. You notice people looking. You notice people staring. You notice people judging. And it affects you. It's not fair and it's not right, because no one should be able to judge or have an opinion like that on your relationship. I shouldn't have to go out on a first date and worry about what other people think. But since I was so new to being out of the closet, I was so worried. And luckily that didn't affect her. Because some people would be like, okay, you're way too worried about what other people think right now. Like, I can't handle you. But it didn't bother her. She knew. She understood. I think people just need to stop looking. Okay, great. You don't approve. You don't like. You don't understand. Put your eyeballs back into your head and focus on what you're there for. You don't need to make other people so self-conscious. They already make themselves self-conscious enough. That first date, it was amazing. The only thing that got in my way was my own brain. Me being worried of judgment, me being worried of people staring, me being worried about everything, including my mother finding out. But yeah, that was my first date with a girl. Thanks for watching. Share your first dates down below in the comments area. I would love to hear about them. Have a nice night.